Hello EFD squad and welcome back to the Euro Roundup where you pick our winners and losers from the weekend just past. And we have a feast of football for you today. Real Madrid continuing their journey down the toilet. We have a 6-goal thriller with Barcelona and Sevilla. But we start with the Milan derby, Padre Van Straan. Actually, I want to start by asking you, how was your weekend yet again?
Oh, you know, it was all right. I did the football social. I met Jack, mate. That was good. I obviously met Smithy from Soccer AM.
Quite impressed with Jack, mate, weren't you? And you're a hard man to impress.
Yeah, he's a nice bloke.
Nice bloke, funny, knowledgeable, I heard. He's very complimentary about him.
Yeah, I mean, he's no Smithy, is he? I mean that only in a good way. I'm coming for you, Smithy.
Well then, yes, Milan derby, what happened? Because I actually missed the last stages of this, travelling back last night, but heard it was quite a tasty game, fiery affair.
Yeah, the 222nd Milan derby ended in a 1-0 Inter win, thanks to Mauro Icardi's 92nd minute winner from a Matheus Vecino cross. Now, that gives Inter, I think, 6 wins on the bounce, the 5th league win in a row. And obviously, they hadn't lost since the 15th of September going in, so they were confident. However, Milan hadn't lost since the 25th of August, so they were no pushovers as well. Now, both teams had a disallowed goal. Icardi for Inter, Matteo Musacchio for Milan. Both correct decisions, but Inter also a little bit costly this game for them with Radia Nainggolan going off in the 30th minute. A bad injury for him, it seems. Now, leaving it late seems to be a bit of a tradition for Inter. This was their 7th goal in the last 15 minutes of play so far this season. That is crazy. And overall, I'd say they were the better side, but by the stats, pretty even game. 18 shots for Inter with 4 on target, 15 shots for Milan with 1 on target. So, yeah, Milan didn't really have any big chances, but it was a pretty tough game with both sides just eager not to be beaten, I think, overall. Now, Icardi and Higuain were coming into this game head-to-head, both in good form. Icardi had 4 in his last 3, Higuain 5 in his last 4. Exactly the same shot conversion rate and shooting accuracy going into this game, but Icardi's the only one who augmented that record. Anyway, my worry is that the Milan derby, which used to be a classic, it used to be, you know, Zanetti versus Maldini. It used to be really kind of the pinnacle of Italian football. It's now a bit of a damp squib. Only 2 goals scored in the last 3 matches.
Although small silver lining that Gattuso's Milan catching up a little bit. Obviously, Inter
maybe
didn't have the best start to the season and then have achieved decent form after that. But at least it remains competitive because Milan were on the sort of edge of collapse.
Obscurity.
As a top elite level side. Anyway, back to, talking of elite, back to Mauro Icardi, who only had 15 touches in this game. Yeah. Typically cuts a peripheral figure, doesn't he, before he strikes like a cobra.
Why are you writing poetry about Icardi? Shut up, get on with it, mate.
M9. Anyway, still managed to get his goal, didn't he? Takes 2.8 shots per game in the Serie A, so not a shot monster either by any measure, but very decisive when he works his way into those good positions. A master of the penalty box, isn't he, Patrick Van Straan? 1.7 of those shots inside the penalty area. Again, not a large amount, but of his 0.6 goals per game, on average, 0.5 of them come from inside the penalty area. This isn't a guy who scores or even tries it from long range, is he?
Not very often.
The Champions League, when he scores absolute bangers against Tottenham. Anyway, he scored the winner in 4 games so far this season. 2 of those coming in the Champions League, where actually his numbers have experienced a little bit of a bump. I saw that his key passes, which are normally 0.7 in Serie A, were 1.5 in the Champions League, which is good, bodes well that he's able to elevate his game in the Champions League. But it shows that he has to do more, I suppose, as the creative force in the Champions League, whereas in the Serie A he maybe knows that he's going to get a chance from Candreva, from Perisic out wide at some point. It's just a matter of staying in that position. Anyway, he looks to be continuing his form from last season where he scored 29 in the league, scoring 4 in 7 so far and having a goal a game in the Champions League, like I said. Inter move up to 3rd, still 6 points off Juve, however. AC slipped down to 12th. A lot of draws at current for AC. Only 6 points off 4th place Lazio, I guess. But, AC also have a game in hand. So maybe a little bit misleading there in that regard. Yeah. Inter now travel to Barcelona on Wednesday. What a game that is going to be. and then Lazio in the league. So pretty tough double-header there. Whereas AC play Real Betis at home in the Europa League, then Sampdoria in Serie A. So easier fixtures to come, but still tricky nonetheless. Real Betis, not exactly the Real Betis of last season at current, aren't they? But don't know much about Sampdoria either. They start the season well?
Well, they beat Napoli 3-0, didn't they?
Oh, yeah,
but yeah, Samp, I think, have been overachieving a little bit so far. So we'll see if Milan can put together a run. But it's nice that after we predicted Inter would have a good season, they look like they actually might do. That would be fun, wouldn't it?
Spalletti, good, isn't it?
First losers of the week are Real Madrid. We couldn't start anywhere else. At SCMP24 brings us Lopetegui's men, and things just get worse and worse and worse.
L for loser, L for Lopetegui, as his disastrous start to the season continues, losing 2-1 at home. At home to Levante with goals from Morales and Marti, which was a penalty, putting the Frogs ahead with a 72nd minute consolation from Marcelo, the only silver lining for Los Blancos fans. Now, they conceded 2 in the first 13. Not ideal when you're under so much pressure, especially at home, in front of that crowd who are more often than not baying for blood when things go south. Varane lost concentration for Sergio Postigo's long ball and then gave away a penalty handling in the box 7 minutes later. So not the young Frenchman's, is he that young anymore, 24? Not his best 19. But you have got a feel for Lopetegui though. Real Madrid had 34 shots with 12 of them coming on target. But as you pointed out off camera, not from great shot locations.
No, they just take them from everywhere at the moment. This is the problem with Real Madrid. Like, they're still getting quite a decent number of shots, but their shot quality has drastically deteriorated. Whereas when you look at Levante's shot locations, really dangerous, right in the middle of the box, and of course that penalty. So they were incisive on the counter-attack. I think they were good value for the win, actually.
Yeah, that was the thing about Ronaldo, wasn't it? High volume of shots, but 4 of them were still coming inside the box. So they were quality shots, and they are missing that now, not just the volume, like I said. But the fact remains, Real Madrid have now lost 4 of their last 5 games with their 14 points from a possible 27, their worst start since 2001-2, when they only managed 10 under Vicente del Bosque. Now they've taken 1 point from their last 4 league games, which is their worst run since 08-09, when they went pointless in 5, though they finally managed to score, Van Straten. Their first goal in 482 minutes, just 17 minutes shy of their longest ever drought, which came in 1985.
Jesus.
Just worrying scenes, really.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like the sort of situation where Lopetegui's going to keep his job. It feels like he's going to be sacked
a little
very
bit
soon.
Benitez-esque, where it's, I'm going to wait until El Clasico, because if he loses against Barcelona, this is Perez, I'm Perez, right? Just imagine I look like a toad. And then it makes it easier to give him the boot, you know, following, you know, an almost inevitable defeat at the hands of the Blaugrana at the minute.
Yeah, though Barcelona are pretty bad at the moment as well. But I mean, I guess they're still grinding out wins, whereas Real Madrid are authentically terrible and are also losing. I mean, it's just a really strange one at the moment. Like, bringing in Lopetegui was a bit of a weird move. Much weirder was sitting on 100 million euros, which they got for Cristiano Ronaldo. Overall, that's my analysis. If you lose one of the best forwards in the world and you get a lot of money for him, you should go out and spend some of that money on a player who's good enough to play for Real Madrid. And overall, that'll make you good. But anyway, Levante had lost 4 of their first 6 games in the league. Obviously, they got battered 6-2 by Sevilla as well, which is a really fun game. But they've now won 3 on the bounce against Alaves, Getafe, and now Real Madrid. They're up to 7th. They're a point behind Real. They're just 3 behind 4th placed Atleti. So this really shows how the big teams underperforming has made La Liga a lot more kind of concentrated this season in those middle places. Now, their goal scorers in this game have been excellent so far this year. Marti has got 5 in the league. That's 1 every 110 minutes. The only people to score more than him, Andre Silva, Messi, and Christian Stuani, while José Luis Morales, the 31-year-old, has scored 4. So really impressive strike force for a club of Levante's size. Back to Madrid, though. I mean, not being able to score is not the sort of problem you predict Real Madrid to have. Under Zidane, they never failed to score in consecutive games. They went on a 73-match streak where they scored in every game between April 2016 and September 2017. But now 13 after 9, their worst goal-scoring start since 2004-05. Do you know what happened that year? They'd had 2 managers out of the door by December. Now, obviously, the loss of Cristiano Ronaldo goes beyond just goals. It's his It's his ability to kind of draw attention away in the box, to pull defenders with him, also to create chances for his teammates. But by this stage last season, he'd only scored 1, and yet Real Madrid had scored 18. So kind of 1.5 times what they've got at this stage this season. So it does feel like his loss has not just been on the goal-scoring end, it's the entire kind of focal point of the attack. As Hamill says, next up, El Clasico versus Barcelona. I think that game is going to be bloody. And Sky Sports News already reporting that Lopetegui might be getting his P45. So, what a great season for Real Madrid.
Get the white hankies out. Our final winners are Barcelona, and that's no surprise because what a game this was. Just 2 attacks mauling one another. This comes from Gopal Sharma _10. What did you make of it? Tasty, right?
Yeah, top of the table encounter, Barca versus Sevilla. These were the top scoring sides in La Liga going into this game, and Barcelona came out on top 4-2, thanks really to stars at both ends of the pitch. Messi up front and Marc-Andre Ter Stegen in goal, who I thought was clearly the man of the match. 42 shots in the game, 19 for Sevilla, 23 for Barcelona, I think. But both sides are pretty defensively suspect. Their goal difference, they now rank 6th and 7th in the league. So that's, I don't know, in this game you kind of expected that whoever could just happen to finish their chances would get the result, and that's pretty much how it worked out for Barca. Now Messi had to go off after 15 minutes in which he'd already taken 2 shots, scored a goal, created a great assist, got his 25th against Sevilla, which actually equals a record set by Ronaldo. 7 goals in 8 league starts. Pretty impressive from him. But frankly, I think that Barca were lucky, and I think that expected goals bears me out on this, to escape this game with a win. I think this could easily have been a draw or even worse for them.
Yeah, excluding the penalty and the own goal, this was 2.1 to 1.9 in Barca's favour, according to some sources at the very least, but they definitely have Ter Stegen to thank for taking all 3 points home, with the German making 5 saves. I mean,
and big
4
saves.
of them were incredible, very high quality chances from Sevilla. They were from a combined 8 yards out each time. I mean, the shot of the weekend is Ter Stegen clawing that header
away, so good,
isn't it? And then he gets up very quickly, spreads himself, De Gea-esque, making that double save. And I think he's probably been the best goalkeeper in Europe at the start of this campaign.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Messi had to go off. Yes, very sort of decisive in his 15 minutes. Luis Suarez, not so much, but he huffed and he puffed. And he took 7 shots eventually, putting 3 off target, 1 really gilt-edged missed opportunity from the right-hand side that he sort of thrashed across goal. But despite his patchy form, despite his patchy start to the season, he still won a penalty. He converted it, he registered a very good assist for Messi, and he also hit the post. Now, his goal involvement subsequently is a very healthy 1 goal every 92.5 minutes in terms of scored or assists. So,
decent. Seems decent.
Yeah, he's
rumours of his demise might have been exaggerated.
Over-exaggerated, yeah. Despite the fact that he is very clearly sort of suffering from maybe a lack of confidence in front of goal at the start of this season, he's still getting in very good positions and he's still taking a high number of shots. So you imagine it's going to plateau, it's going to level itself out at some point. A shout out to Nelson Semedo too, who's very good going forward at the very least on the night. The most passes completed, 46, the most dribbles, 3, and the most ball recoveries on 8. So a decent rounded performance from him. He looks a real threat down that right-hand side, which is sort of needed when Messi came off, Dembele came on. It was a little bit more unbalanced, but just a really entertaining game of football, a really good advert for La Liga. But you're right, this could have gone another way for Sevilla on another night, and I think Barcelona are now on 18 points, Sevilla on 16, but separated by Espanyol and someone else. I want to say Valladolid, but I don't think it is.
Surely not.
But La Liga, crazy at the start of this season. The top 4 not looking as expected, apart from Barcelona at the summit. Guys, who's going to finish in the Champions League berths? Let us know in the comments below, because Atletico not faring very well against Villarreal either. Could have covered that game. Haven't.
Didn't. Our second and final losers of the week are Roma. Now, you'd have thought home game versus Spal. That's probably going to end in a win, but it didn't turn out that way, did it, for the Romans?
Couldn't even be an acronym. What does Spal stand for, Van Straten?
Italian words. It might be Latin, but I don't know the Latin words. I haven't looked it up. I'll look it up, translate it later. for the Twitter follows.
You're really letting yourself go.
Shut the up.
You'd have known that off the bat a year ago.
What are you talking about?
You know exactly.
What happened in this game?
Anyway, they picked up their third L, did you say, Di Francesco's side in Serie A this season after succumbing 2-0 at home to Spal. They now lie 7th in the table, 4 points off rivals Lazio in 4th. Meanwhile, Spal move up to 13th. Get in, Spal, after putting an end to a 4-game losing run. They were very unfortunate to lose to Inter the other weekend.
Yeah, they're good.
Deflected goal and a ridiculous Icardi header, if memory serves me correctly. The visitors had keeper Vanja Milinkovic-Savic, brother of Sergei Milinkovic-Savic, not the little thing from the advert. Anyway, sent off with 15 minutes remaining, 2 yellows for time wasting and dissent.
Yeah, did you see this? He gets booked for time wasting, he throws the ball away in anger and he gets a second booking and sent off. It was absolutely quality.
Probably avoidable.
It was so good.
Housery of the highest order, but they still managed to hold on to a clean sheet despite conceding 18 shots to the Giallorossi. Now, Roma have dropped points to the following clubs. 17th placed Atalanta, it was 3-3. 20th place Chievo, 2-2. And now 14th place Spal. Why? Yeah. Wastefulness?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, Dzeko alone had 5 shots on target in this game, but they're just not going in for him at the moment. He's only hit the net twice so far this season, just once in his last 4. So we might be seeing him slow down. But on the other hand, he's getting into good positions. He's getting chances. He's putting shots on target. You'd have thought it will come at some point. But maybe after the Inter performance, if not result, and after this game, we're just underestimating Spal a little bit. It might be that their game plan, because they are a smaller team, works a bit better against the bigger sides, kind of in the style of, defend and counter. Dzeko taking over 3 shots in the box per game. That sounds like a recipe for him to start scoring at some point soon. Same as he was averaging last season. He got 16 overall then. But yeah, something isn't quite clicking for Roma. They beat Lazio 3-1. It looked like they were going to kick on, but we did predict they'd have a bit of a slip down this season. And they've got Napoli next weekend, then Fiorentina. And those are pretty rough games for them. I think inevitably when you bring in Monchi, you acknowledge that you're developing a long-term project. And it might not be, win now, try and get the result now. But so far this season, it feels like a huge step back from the Spalletti days.
Because of the squad turnover, they kind of have to take a hit on blooding that young talent.
Yeah, and you're saying, you know what, we turn people over, and then at some point we hope that we get the right group of young players at the right time and we can keep them together for just long enough that we can finally win, I think, what would only be the 4th title in their history.
Now, I imagine there's got quite a high average age in that squad as well.
Overall, yeah, but there are good youngsters, right? You've got you've got core members of the squad who aren't that old, people like Florenzi and stuff. But you've also got youngsters like Under, like Kluivert, like Cristante, like Pellegrini, isn't he at Roma? Schick, your boy Schick.
Pellegrini moved to... Oh, which Pellegrini are we talking about?
There's Pietro Pellegrini, who went to Monaco. Then there's Lorenzo Pellegrini, and there's Luca Pellegrini, and I think they're both at Roma. But I guess they're going to turn over their young talent again and again, and you hope that the next thing they find is a quality centre forward to take over from Dzeko.
Who should that be? Let us know in the comments below.
Could be our star of the week. Moving on to that.
Good. And finally, our star of the week to wrap up the show this week, unsurprisingly, is Luka Jovic. He is causing damage in the Bundesliga of late. You put him in a 1 to watch at the start of the season, and he is paying you back, Patrick van Straten, in full, isn't he, on his promise. Thank you for getting your suggestions in this week, by the way. Look out for our tweets on Sundays. Star of the Week exclusive to your roundup. Please take over about the big Serb.
Yeah, he's joint top of the Bundesliga scoring charts after netting 5 in Frankfurt's demolition of Fortuna Düsseldorf. They beat them 7-1, and that gave Frankfurt their 4th win of the season. Now, his first goal is an unbelievable sort of scissor volley into that. He's only 20 years old, and the reason I put him in a 1 to watch 11 at the beginning of the season is because his numbers last year looked fantastic as well. He had 8 goals and 1 assist in about 900 minutes last season. Now, that's obviously not a big sample, but it gave him a goal involvement once every 102 minutes, which is pretty spicy. And when I dug into his shot numbers, he looked like he had star quality there. 20 years old, but there was nobody under 23 in Europe's top 5 leagues who took more shots per game than him with 3.7. And the only players under 25 who took more shots per game than him were Depay, Dybala and Harry Kane.
Pretty elite company.
It's pretty good company. And when I looked at his expected goals as well, 0.74 a match, and the only players to beat that in the Bundesliga last year, Aubameyang, Lewandowski. So it's no wonder that he's been linked with bigger clubs.
Yeah, I mean, he has 15 goals in 28 games for the side now, meaning he averages a goal every 82 minutes in the Bundesliga. That's better than Lewandowski across the Poles time in Germany, where he's averaging a goal every 112 minutes. I expect this to plateau at some point, to be quite frank, probably unsustainable, but his numbers definitely deserve a close look by the big boys, don't they? That's sort of what we're getting at here. Now let's give you a little bit of context, a little bit of his origin story. The 20-year-old played in the youth ranks at Red Star Belgrade before switching to Benfica in 2016, before he joined Frankfurt on a 2-year loan deal. Now, Fred Bobic, the sporting director of Frankfurt, has stressed already that they intend to activate his buyout clause, which Benfica must be fuming about right now, especially given that Chelsea and Tottenham are also heavily interested. But he doesn't have to go to Frankfurt, does he? And this might start a bidding war. I'm sure that Benfica would much prefer he heads to English shores for that primo cash.
Yeah.
He only has 2 caps to his name at current. We expect that to change pretty quickly. And I am really excited about how he's going to develop over the course of the season. I hope that he stays at Frankfurt at least until the end of the campaign, so we get a good sample size for his numbers. Yeah. Don't want him to go to a bigger side and sort of not play at the moment and imagine what could have been. But yeah, I think he's going to be an absolute corker. So that was Euro Roundup for this week, Paddy Van Straw. And what else can people do now? They've got to the end of the show.
You can check out the last few weeks of Stat Wars, the league. It's obviously getting very tight at the top of the table. Some people not involved at the top of the table.
Awkward.
But obviously stick around as well on Eurofootball Daily and Football Daily. This week we've got Armchair Fans coming up tomorrow, where we cover the Man United versus Juventus game. And of course, every Saturday we have the Football Social streaming live, where we cover the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League. Make sure that you're around for that and see our great guests. And as ever, like, subscribe, drop a comment, follow us on Instagram, follow my cat on Instagram, and we'll see you later.